All right, welcome everybody. I'd like to call the combined special and regular meetings of the trustees of the Tulsa Airports Improvement Trust and the members of the Tulsa Airport Authority to order. The first item of business is approval of combined minutes of January 12th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Operating and financials.
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
Well,
You get to take this all by yourself?
yes, I did. I have a great team to help me out. So I'm filling in for Alexis today, and Sherry in the back just informed me that today is her 23rd anniversary at the airport. No, not Sherry, Alexis. Right, but Sherry might be getting up there. I'm sure. But yeah,
What are you, 15?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
So
23
so that's kind of neat
amazing.
for Alexis. She's out at a leadership conference on the West Coast today, so I'm happy to fill in. I also want to introduce Burdetta. She's our new interim CFO, and she's stepped up and taken on this leadership role and is going to be providing our financial reports just in a moment. So Burdetta, welcome to the table. She's a familiar face, been here for a long time.
How long have you been here?
41 years.
Oh
my gosh.
Well, they're just young pups in the woods. 41 years, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Effective change.
Yeah. So very knowledgeable from Burdetta's perspective. So this opening slide, this is the Tulsa Ballet Folklorico Tierra Metzia group, dance group. They came and celebrated the opening of our new art exhibit in January. And I love this picture because it really represents what our airport is all about. You know, our commercial marketing team, Stephanie Chester, she's the one that really coordinated this event. The media came out, we had a great attendance, and it was wonderful. They put on a great show. But in the background of that picture, you can also see there's new monitors on the A and B concourse in the meter greeter areas. And that monitor in the background represents a lot of work that was taking place that made it so beautiful. You know, our building maintenance team built out for those screens. Andrew purchased the monitor. Our technology team installed them. Nick Kaywood with our vehicle maintenance team had to build the mounts for those TVs. They weigh about 130 pounds. They're pretty heavy. It's just a combination of everything. So although that's a beautiful picture, I think there's just a lot that goes into making this airport work, and I like what it represents.
Great.
So moving on. So this picture is from the Martin Luther King Jr. Day Parade. We had about 24 employees and their families come out to the parade, and it was wonderful. I think we handed out over 4,000 pieces of candy to kiddos at that parade. I think we ran out about 3/4 of the way, so next year we'll do a little bit better. But it was a great way to serve the community and celebrate the life of Dr. King, you know, with our families. And it was just, you know, our airport has strong values, and it's nice to get out and about and represent the airport in this way. Again, kind of an employee thing. This is Brian Crick. I'm sorry, Brian, I'm putting the picture up there for you, but we celebrated the Lunar New Year. And again, kind of a different type of thing for a board report, but I think it's fun to highlight the things that our employees come together to celebrate, the things that, you know, might not be normal for some of us, but we just value different perspectives. And we handed out food and the red envelopes to celebrate a prosperous year ahead. So to all of our employees, and it was wonderful. All of these things really lead up to what makes our airport such a great place to work. Last month, we were informed that we got the Mosaic Top Inclusive Workplace Award. And, you know, the dance group, the Martin Luther King Jr. Day Parade, the Lunar New Year, and all the events that we celebrate as a team and come together. Although, you know, running the airport is important, I think these things are also important. And the people that are in this room and that are out working really do a great job. In serving not only each other, but also the community. And so I just wanted to highlight that in today's board report. And this award recognizes organizations that celebrate diversity, champion equity, and cultivate inclusion. So congrats to the team on getting this award for 2022.
Yeah, wonderful. It's great.
Where in the year of the chicken? The lunar year, where in the year of the chicken?
The rabbit.
Rabbit.
The rabbit?
Yeah.
We went from tiger to rabbit.
I think there was a lot of discussion about that.
Well, chickens have checked out.
Rabbit's big.
Yeah.
Hey, he's fine, that is chicken.
Well, I'm not gonna say the first word on this slide because I think our operations team might hurt me. But I will say that the preparedness efforts that our operations teams, both here at Tulsa International and Tulsa Riverside, have really given great returns on our snow response. Our airport in the last few snow events and ice events remained open for our customers and our airlines. The runways, this is one of our MB5s, that's Chuck Wagon, actually. The nickname Chuck Wagon, but you can really see, this is just the past, the left side picture is the before, the right side picture is the after, and you can see how well that machine does at clearing the runway. Our operations teams, our Riverside operations team, our landside team with our building maintenance crew, you know, keep our passengers and our walkways safe. They do an excellent job, and I just wanted to highlight that as well. Because we were able to keep our airport open in January and February. And I think we've got an event coming up maybe this weekend, but it sounds like it's not gonna be anything to impact our operation.
So what day was that, you know? Which event?
2 weeks ago, it was 2 weeks ago on
Is that,
Monday,
was that the ice and?
the ice.
So it did that on the sleet and ice, it wasn't just snow.
Yeah,
That's
sleet and ice.
pretty impressive.
Yeah,
That's a little harder to deal with than
right.
snow. So.
Yeah, and we had an employee, you know, we monitor the weather. We had one of our airfield maintenance workers come up, get called out at 1 a.m. that morning because the storm was gonna start, and pre-treated all of our priority 1 areas. And so that decision by Cole Brown, our director of operations, really helped us manage the storm and keep the runway open.
That is a huge deal.
It is.
You know,
Yeah.
if you're open for business, if you're gonna be open for business, you need to be open, and
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. We do a lot better than the US mail.
Yeah. Yeah.
You used to be, that was their motto, that it doesn't matter what the weather or anything else, we're gonna be there, but, I think since they gave it up, the airport could probably take their motto.
Yeah. There's the teams that really do the runway work, and also on the passenger side, there's a lot of pride.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pride in keeping this airport open, safe, and just available to the airlines that want to use it.
Great job, yeah.
And finally, I'm gonna stand up over here. We, at our last TAIT Talks meeting, we implemented this new award. And it's the gold standard award. Alexis and I really went back and forth on what we should call it. But we kind of came to the fact that the gold standard award made a lot of sense. And it recognizes our teams, a team in the airport that's made significant contributions to the airport, that have come together, collaborated with others, and delivered the results that we want for an airport. And so it's a quarterly reward. And what's neat about it is that the team that won gets to choose the next team for the next quarter. It's a quarterly award. And they get to work directly with Alexis as the CEO to do it. So Alexis gets some engagement with team members that maybe she wouldn't have otherwise gotten, to work together to highlight the efforts of other teams in the airport. So it's outstanding. Last Friday, this is a picture of our technology and innovation team. There's 2 people missing from that picture, Ricky and Mark. Mark's sitting over here right behind Jeff, Mark Farah. And this team has done an outstanding job. As you all know, we had some transitions in the technology team over the past year, and a lot of challenges. But there was a lot of things on their plate that really had to be delivered for the airport's success long-term. Some of those things included the rollout of our common use system. That today, is completed. We are in full support of all of our common use case with our own equipment now. And airlines are using it, at several of the gates and the ticket counters. And so that's great. They've implemented a new FID system, throughout the airport. And through our wayfinding project, we're gonna update the look of that. But that FID system, isn't just showing, has the capability of showing the arrival and departure airplanes, but we also now control the marketing for all of our screens in the airport. So Andrew's team can go and sell those screens, and we can manage that internal now. And so that's outstanding. Some of the other things that they've been involved with recently was they upgraded 171 security cameras to improve the security of our airport. And then they've deployed commercial marketing screens at the A and B from that first picture that I showed. And then also in our business centers on the concourses in both A and B. So revenue generating as well. So great team. Brent Wall's holding the trophy in the picture, and he's our new director of technology innovation. I wanted to introduce him today, but unfortunately he's out sick. So I didn't want him to come in just for this. So Mark and Jack are here from tech, and I wanted to highlight it because it's a fun award. They get to go out and do something special and have some food on the airport as well. So
Well, congratulations. It's,
Good.
the whole world works around technology, and I mean, that's where marketing is, it's where everything is, so.
yeah, great work.
Thanks for keeping us up to date and moving forward.
Yeah. All right, and finally, down this hallway, we've refreshed it. After the meeting, or if you haven't already taken a look, we've got a new monitor out here that technology can control. And we've also updated our year-end review boards for 2022 to highlight a lot of the work that's been done at the airport. So if you have a chance after the meeting, I'd really recommend that you take some time to look at that. I think it's great. All right, with that, I'll turn it over to Burdetta.
Okay, so good morning. These slides are gonna compare the months of December 22 to December 21 and the first 6 months of both of those fiscal years, fiscal year 22 and fiscal year 23. So starting with the revenues, the December revenues are 9% higher in 22 than they were in 21. That's about $297,000 separating the month over month. And for the same fiscal year to date, we are 15% more than the same time last year, which equates to about 3.2 billion more in revenue dollars. The expenses are 14% higher for month over month and 15% higher year over year. That's about $1.7 million increase in the fiscal year over fiscal year. It still results in a positive 3% net budget income for month over month. And the fiscal year to date is 16% higher in 23 than in 22. That's about $1.6 billion more. Food and beverage continues to do well. We have a 25% increase in December 22 when compared to December 21. The year over year reflects an increase of 35% or $963,000. Retail experienced a 16% month over month and an increase of 12% in the year over year. That's $70,000 more for the month over month and $366,000 more revenue generated for fiscal year over fiscal year. Parking activity continues to do well. The number of ticket pulls were up 13% for the month over month and 18% year over year. That's about $34,000 more tickets full for the fiscal year to date, or about $34,000 more vehicles in our parking lot. Parking revenues are up 18% from December 22 over December 21. We mentioned every month that we did have a rate increase July 1st. So while some of the revenue is due to more activity, it's also due to the rate increase. The fiscal year to date was up by 38%. That's $1.8 million more in parking revenue. Ground transportation generated revenue in the amount of $27,000 for December 22. That's up 46% from December 21. Fiscal year increased around $57,000. That's up 45% for fiscal year 22. And we did have an addition of Turo in September, and they generate about $5,000 a month for us. Rent-a-car transaction days were up 4% for the month, but up 12% for the fiscal year to date. That's an increase of over $40,000 days over last fiscal year to date. RVS operations were down 7% for the month, but we're still up by 9% from the previous fiscal year to date. And the flow fees at RVS were also down by 2%, but they're still trending 2% higher for the fiscal year to date. And plane passenger counts increased 4% when comparing month to month, with a 16% increase when comparing fiscal year to date. That's 108,611 more passengers in the terminal for this fiscal year to date. In-plane cargo was down by 9%, but it still is up 2% for the fiscal year to date comparison. This chart just really highlights our trends on the revenues. We had a little dip there in December on our activity-based revenues, but we're still we're at $24.3 million, or 15% higher than fiscal year 22. Same thing, we can see how the expenses are running. So we're trending basically like we were in 2020. That was pre-COVID, and that will change here shortly. And the in-plane passenger slide, you can see our seasonal trends. We had a little dip in December. We were for the calendar year, we were higher than 2021, but still lower than 2018 and 2019. We're still about 4% lower than we were in 2019. Calendar year 2019. So this slide goes into a little bit more detail. Budget to actual. Currently, revenues are about 15% higher, or about $3.3 million more than we anticipated when we were doing the budget last year. The biggest reason for that is the parking and rent-a-car with a 30% increase. That's $2.3 million. Then passenger and air carrier is 7% greater than we expected. And our miscellaneous, which is mostly CFCs, is up 26%. It's around $400K. The expenses are running about 3% under the budget for the first 6 months. Salary and benefits are the largest reason, about 6% below that. Materials and supplies are slightly below by 8%. And services are right on track, just with a 1% difference. So we're netting before depreciation and debt service about $3.7 million more than we anticipated based on our budget from last year. And this is the little bit more detail on the fiscal year to date comparison. So it's comparing fiscal year 23 to 22. Revenues are about 15% higher than the same fiscal year same period for last fiscal year. That's $3.2 million more. Passenger air carrier has a 5% gain, or $330,000. Parking and rent-a-car are 32% above last fiscal year for $2.4 million. And then the miscellaneous is about $400,000 above the last fiscal year. The expenses are running about 15% higher when compared to December. That's about $1.7 million more, and that's salaries are up like 15%, materials 23%, and services are up 13%. And that's mostly due to inflation, being more fully staffed. But we still have a positive gain of $1.6 million more than we had at the same time last year. That's 16%. Okay, this last slide is the days of cash on hand. So at the end of January, we have $28.3 million of unrestricted cash. That's nets to about 350 days of cash on hand. That's using our budgeted expenses, both operating and operating capital, of about an $81,000 a day burn rate. So the scheduled debt service is 14 for 23 is 14.1 million, with the first 7 months either paid or reserved, with about $6 million worth of debt service remaining for 2023. And then our debt service reserves, we have about 16 million in total reserves, and so it creates an excess of about 1.5 months of cash that we have to spend toward other things. And any questions?
Question back on fiscal year expenses. I'm back right here and looking at the chart. And it shows a significant increase in December of 2022.
On the expenses?
Yeah. And I was just curious, everything seems to track until you get to December, and December kind of jumps up off the chart right there.
Right there. Well, it's November's tracking up, and we're more fully staffed than we were. And I think we've got some consulting fees that have hit in the month of December.
In the year, so
Yeah.
Okay.
makes sense.
Yeah,
But
I did just stuck out to me, jumps off,
so I've got a
jumps out of the norm.
couple of questions.
Where do I need to go?
It's not significant. I'm just kind of curious how people are coming to the airport. So can you go back to the very first one? So you got parking activity that's up 18% for the year. Vehicle revenues is 38%. I guess that's due to
Probably
increase. But then, ground transportation is 45% up. And I know, I'm just trying to.
The rates have
It's
gone-
not significant from a financial standpoint,
Right.
but how you get to the airport. I mean, I know our employments are up and that sort of thing, but having everything go up exponentially, it just seems odd.
Yeah, well, on the ground transportation, for ground transportation specifically, we're up $9,000 year over year, and a good 75% of that is from the Turo revenue that we're getting now.
Okay, yeah, I know we've kicked in some new,
Yeah,
yeah.
so we get 10% of their revenues.
Is Turo really taking off that much?
This is.
Well, they were already coming here,
They were-
it's just now we're collecting.
Right, right.
Plus,
That-
when they park their car.
That's the private, rental, like people wanting to rent
I'm
Ferraris.
amazed at that
And they also park in the garage, so we get the parking
Okay.
fee
Okay,
when the passenger takes the car out as well.
okay, all right, well, interesting. I was trying to, I couldn't remember, but that's what kicked in, so, all right. The other thing is just from, cash on hand standpoint, we're pushing a year. Yeah. Cash on hand. Is that the ultimate goal? Or does anybody remember? I was thinking that once you got to a year, well, that's what we've kind of been reaching for.
Yeah.
For all these years, and that's gonna float depending on everything. That's a hard question, and, I hate hitting you with that, on your first meeting, but. I mean, I'm excited that we're at 350 days, but,
Well, you know, once we hit 365 days, we have to share with the airlines,
That's
so.
what I was
that's what
was
it is.
So
thinking that, yeah.
we're, you know, we'd like to stay at 350 or 364, so that's our goal.
That's under the current agreement, which we are renegotiating this.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, Andrew talked some more.
We'll
about
talk
that
about that in
here.
a sec, potentially be renegotiated.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see, like, let's say over the last 20 years, how that, has it consistently been going up? I'm sure there was a while when it went down.
Oh, it was down until COVID and we got that influx
Right.
of the, CARES Act.
Right.
It's never
3
been
years
this
ago.
high.
It's never,
Never, this is the highest.
I don't
Yeah,
remember
I
ever
don't think
being
we've
this
ever
high.
had it this high.
Yeah, it used to be around 270, 272.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It helps on bond rate, but there's other things that. Yeah, anyway, all right,
If you want any other information, just give me an email. I'm happy
Yeah.
to provide.
Thank you.
no, thank you very much, that was a great report.
I think one other thing to hit, if you can go to the employment slide for data,
Okay,
we
maybe.
were up 4% year over year. But that's also including the Southwest
Yeah.
operational issues. So we were tracking to be considerably higher than that,
Yeah,
but still positive year over year.
Mhm.
but I flew Southwest last week, they were on their best behavior.
Yeah.
So,
That's what I hear.
both ways, it was great, they were friendly,
I'm
so.
taking my grandsons next month. That's the first time I'm doing this, 3 and 5-year-olds, to see if Southwest can help me out.
All right, administrative, is that's everything?
Yes, sir.
Item number 1, approve amendments to ground transportation policy.
Yes, so we're seeking approval to the ground transportation policy for the addition of our virtual taxi cab queuing system, which we just recently deployed in January, and we went live February 1 with revenue collection.
And how's it?
It's working out great. Our operations team and landside teams auditing the taxi cabs. Actually, Cole took me out last week and showed me the app. If he pulled it up, you can see exactly who's out there. One cab left and another cab pulled in, and as soon as they pulled into that box, we got $2 and it showed. So it'll be interesting to see over time the revenue to see if it differs from the ticket pulls that we used to get.
Right.
And we're auditing them and they know that. And so this amendment includes the virtual taxi cab queuing system. It also, we've shut down the taxi cab shack, what I'll call it, over near the employee parking lot. We've got plans, no date, but we're discussing plans to tear that down and extend our employee parking out sometime in the future. And then it also just updates the maps for the taxi cab parking. And then also the future change by March 1st of moving Uber and Lyft up to the arrivals curb from downstairs.
Okay.
Yes.
It was 23 years ago, last month, when I started here. And then I met Alexis a month later, which was like the best thing that ever happened to me, seriously.
Yeah.
Awesome woman, but our taxi cab situation, that was one of the first things that Brett Kitchen gave to me was figure this out, and there was a woman at the chamber, some of you remember Suzanne, and the two of us took on the taxi cabs. They wore like tobacco stained, alcohol smelling shirts, the cars had no parameters around them, so there was just about anything pulling up to the curb. And they still have the staging area, but there was no order to it, and there was no way for us to really track them. So they got in tire iron fights. I mean, it was just so when you think about what we're doing now, that is so classy and so organized and very profitable ultimately for all of them, even them.
Yeah.
They now have, dress codes and car codes and now this new system I'm really thrilled about. So thanks for keeping us moving forward.
Yeah, no
That's
problem.
what competition does.
It does, yeah.
Yes, and where we're putting the Uber and Lyft cars now, we're gonna park them right around the taxi cabs, and we think that the taxi cabs might get more business. Because if you're waiting for an Uber or Lyft and a taxi is standing right there and it's in the same area you've got to pick up, maybe you don't want to wait and you take a taxi.
Right.
I think that was a good
Which is
move.
what I did at
Uh-huh.
New Orleans last
Yeah.
month. so.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
when that change happens, I think it'll be beneficial for not only for our customers, but also for the taxi cab.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I recommend approval of item number 1.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Number 2. Artwork.
I can do it. Approved memorandum of understanding by and between the Tulsa Air and Space Museum, City of Tulsa and Tulsa Airports Improvement Trust for the installation and maintenance of public artwork on TASM leased premises. Under the MOU, the City of Tulsa will assume future ongoing maintenance of the artwork. And
We
we've talked.
have pictures
We have
and
pictures
it's
here.
a beautiful, missing man formation. Got a map on the back where it's gonna be. I think it's perfect. So,
Move approval.
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those no, motion carried.
Item number 3 is to accept the selection and approve the professional services agreement with Frasca and Associates LLC for the airport airline use and lease agreement consulting project for 1 year with 3 one-year TAIT options to renew for a not to exceed amount of $240,000. Frasca bill on hourly rates, year 1 will not exceed 100,000, year 2, 60,000, and years 3 and 4, $40,000 each. We received bids ranging from $240,000 for the 4-year term, up to $325,000. We are not officially in negotiations with the airlines. We still have at least one more meeting in early April to discuss whether or not they are going to want to extend our current agreement. But the big items that are coming up are revenue sharing, as well as what the rates are gonna look like. So we went ahead and went out to RFP for this to make sure that we're prepared in case we do end up in negotiations. It's a long process and we wanted to be ready to go.
Do they have the right to renew? Sorry.
Today, they have the right to renew at the current, well, correct me if I'm wrong, it's
It's a mutual,
a mutual one, but they don't, they want the rates to remain the same, which haven't changed in 5 years now. And then they also want the revenue sharing piece to stay in place and potentially change to where we go to some sort of other different situation than just the 365 days of cash on hand, and potentially change the percentage of what we would share. So I don't want to speak ahead of ourselves here, but it feels like we're gonna go into a renegotiation.
What is the date of expiration of the card?
July
July 1.
1.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's 6:30.
So Andrew, can you tell me, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, but of 2024
Yeah.
Right.
next year.
Can you tell me just a couple things of what they bring to the table to help with this process, what this consulting firm does?
Yeah, so they will go and they'll help us develop our new rates, fees and charges model based on our new updated rate base based on, the escalation of costs over the past 5 years. They'll have a representative at the negotiating table with us, who has actually worked with us on our prior AULA agreement with the airline as well.
You guys might be familiar with Nora Richardson. You may be.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I just thought it might not hurt for people to hear that, because that's a lot of money, but
It is,
they
but it's,
really earn it, yeah.
they do, it's a big piece, the big piece will be the negotiations, but also all the behind the scenes work of helping us actually develop our models in terms of what we're gonna charge and potentially if we were to have revenue sharing still on the table, what that could look like. But there's a lot of different things, different ways that we could go, and every single lease negotiation that the airlines do is different, so it'll be helpful to have some industry experts who have done recent negotiations and kind of see what's the current status of what other airports are doing
Yeah.
and making sure that we're getting the best deal for the airport.
Thanks.
Right. And that will be all the mainline airlines collectively.
So it's right now that our signatory carriers are the big four, so American, Delta, United and Southwest, and then our 2 cargo carriers and UPS and FedEx that are the signatory airlines.
Right.
Those approval items?
second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those no, Motion carries. Number 4.
Good morning, I'll take number 4. Number 4 is accept project and approve final payment with Schindler Elevator Corporation in the amount of $13,300.82 for the airport control tower elevator modernization project. This project originally bid at $410. There was an error, that 4 should have been a 5. We had 4.5% change orders throughout the project. The total cost of the project ended up being $267,016. Management recommend approval of item 4.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Item 5, accept selection approved award of contract for professional design, professional engineering services to Seltzer Schaefer Architects Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $178,123.84 for the revolving door replacement project. This contractor will provide funding to develop plans and specifications to replace existing revolving doors in the ticketing and bag claim areas with vestibules. We did receive 3 consultant qualifications, and we selected Seltzer Schaefer as the best qualified. Management would recommend approval of item 5.
I have a question. It's long overdue. Those are the slowest things I've ever, not even I can walk it. But are they we're gonna have more than one?
Yes.
Or, I mean, just kind of looking at the traffic flow and that sort of thing.
We're gonna get rid of all of the revolving doors. There's 10
Yeah.
revolving doors that we will be getting rid of both the ticketing and bag claim areas.
Right.
There will have to be a study to identify the egress, how many people we can get through these vestibules at a
Right.
time. We may be able to replace 2 revolving doors with 1 vestibule. It's gonna have to be determined. But we will make sure that there is at least 1 vestibule on the A side and 1 on
Right.
the B side.
Right.
We will space them out. If it takes more to make the convenience easier, we will do that.
That was my question. If you want to do a kind of a walking traffic study as to
And
is
absolutely.
one door per terminal or concourse good enough, or do we need multiple ones?
And that would be based upon a peak hour of flow.
Right.
Over the day, we have 3,000 people that, so many people per hour, but nevertheless, we have peak hours where we have a slug of people trying to get through. And those would be the points that we really have to design for. These vestibules, we anticipate to resemble the one coming into Schwab Hall. These will be much smaller. That's gonna be the grand entrance, but they will represent that. So,
Okay. All right. Good deal. Motion,
Move approval minus 5.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No, motion carried.
item 6 is accept project and approve final payment with Myers Cherry Construction LLC in the amount of $7,663 for the ticket counter terminal building project phase 4. This project started at roughly $5.9 million. We had 8.7% change orders throughout the project. Total cost of the project ended up being $6,435,248.26. And management would recommend approval of item 6.
That was a great deal.
Yeah, this was everything, wasn't it? I mean,
I'm sorry.
Schwab Hall, this was all the stuff they did.
Correct, this was part of the 18A bond, one of the projects for 18A bond. This took all of the ticket counters, of course, pushed them back, took care of all the HVAC problems down there. Developed some areas for per use gates and so forth. This project closing of it kind of drug on because of trying to receive products. For instance, the card readers. We could not get card readers, the contractor couldn't. And it was probably at least a year since this project had been complete. We just couldn't get the card readers. Finally, we said, pull the trigger, we will provide something and we'll take care of the card readers.
Right.
So.
Mhm.
Okay,
Move approval number 6.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, motion carried. Contract,
Item number 7, approve acknowledgement and consent to subtenant with Industrial Developers of Oklahoma 5 LLC for new subtenant Navistar Inc. effective upon closing. And this is for the building that was formerly occupied by AMMI right across the street from the Navistar facilities.
Move approval number 7.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, motion carried. Number 8,
Item number 8, approve amendment number 1 to sublease and license agreement with Aircraft Service International Group, Inc., EBA Menzies Aviation to relocate lease premise, increase square footage, and adjust rentals effective March 1, 2023. And they are in the lower level currently and staying down there, a little more than doubling their size, going from 200 square feet over to, well, really, it's quite a bit nice, over to 1,000 square feet or so in their space apartment.
What do they do?
So they're a fueler for the aircrafts.
Move approval number 8.
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, motion carries.
Item number 9, approve assignment of sublease, acknowledgement and consent to assignment from LF Operations LLC to Jimmy G. Shannon Hankins as trustee of the Hankins Family Trust dated September 23rd, 1998, effective February 9, 2023. This is RBS contract.
Move approval number 9.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no, motion carries. Any other business?
Nope.
Have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.